This is KCR, the sound of state.
And we're on. Hey everybody, this is KCR College Radio. You're listening to the award-winning Sound of State here at San Diego State University. For those of you tuning in for the very first time, we have multiple outlets you can tune in. If you live on campus, you can tune in at AM 1610. And for everybody else, you can tune in worldwide, online, at kcrlive.com, where we stream worldwide 24/7. You can go ahead and follow us on all of the social medias as well. It's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and YouTube. Look us up at KCR College Radio. And there's also a TuneIn app for those of you who have iOS and Android devices. Just look up KCR College Radio once you download the app, and you can tune in on there. My name is not Trisha Maymora. It's actually Tisha Maymora, and I am your host for this evening for my entertainment talk show, Tishtalk, where each week I choose a different topic in entertainment, grab some of my friends, talk about it for the hour, occasionally 2 hours, but that is not the case for tonight, and have some good fun. So if you want to follow me at all the social medias at KCR Tishtalk, I have a Facebook, I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, and I also have a YouTube where I post all of my prior shows, including this one. This will also be up there as well. You can tune into that as well. So if you couldn't tell, tonight's topic is Stranger Things. I've been waiting to do this show for a while, mainly because I had to wait for obviously season 2 to come out, which came out prior to Halloween, and then took me a good minute to actually finish the season, just because I think around that time, midterms was happening. It just took me forever to finally sit down and watch everything. And was completely worth it, because here we are now. We're going to talk about it tonight. And if you guys want to join in on the conversation, we also have a studio phone if you don't want to tweet at me, which I'd love it if you tweet at me. That'd be great. But if you want to call in, the studio phone is 619-594-6982. I'll say it a few times again in the show if you want. Have a lot of fun. As long as we are all radio friendly and all that good stuff, we'll go smoothly. So, as my music ends and I have to go find something else, let me go ahead and introduce my guests for this evening. One of them has been here before. The other two is brand new here to the station. So if I would like to introduce to the mics, I have Alex Sainz, Rachel Cuizon, and Ashley Nowlin. You guys can say hi.
Hello, hello.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, guys.
Hey. So usually what I have my guests do, since I just introduced you guys, basically give a little backstory, what you guys are up to, how we all know each other, and where you guys from, considering that we all go to school and do other things. So if you want to go, Alex, you want to go first?
Hey everyone, this is Alex Sainz speaking. I'm a student, not working at the moment, but looking happy to be here. Excited to talk about Stranger Things.
It's gonna be good.
Yes. Okay, I am Rachel Cuizon. I was on the Disney show, so if you didn't hear my long spiel back then, me and Tisha have been friends since kindergarten.
Yes.
So we are oldie but goodie friends.
Oldie but goodie.
I graduated college this past summer, and I'm just hanging out, moved back to San Diego, and currently working with something with my degree. So that's good. Slow.
And our last guest.
Hey guys, it's Ashley.
There you go.
I've known Tisha since high school, so it's been a few years since I've known her. I just graduated Cal Poly SLO in June, and I am now doing an internship working with the U.S. Navy Marine Mammals. So that's been a lot of fun, a lot of hard work, but it's good.
Yay! And we're all here today. I'm super excited. Oh, the lava lamp's not on today. Still switch here? I'll figure it out. We have a lava lamp here in the studio. It's supposed to be on, but it's not on, and it's disappointing. So, obviously, before I start, this is going to be a spoiler-filled show, so I'm sorry if you guys have not watched the second season. We're going to get into it. We really are. I'm excited. It's going to be great. So I guess the first thing I'm going to say is thoughts on season 2.
Oh my gosh, I absolutely loved it. Like, everything about it. They definitely, like, upped the ante on this one. Like, the cinematography, the acting, the visual effects, and everything.
Steve.
Awesome.
Steve.
We all love Steve.
Yeah,
We all
so
love Steve.
let me go off of that then. Is Steve all of our favorite character? Like, in terms of, like, character progression, who do you think had the best?
Oh, Steve.
Oh, definitely Steve.
Definitely Steve.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of this was like definitely character development season.
Yeah, and they even said that too.
absolutely. Yeah.
Did you guys see the Beyond Stranger Things show that Netflix produced out too?
Yeah, I was just telling that I watched it today to, like, refresh. So
Ashley, you're
Loved it.
behind.
I'm sorry. My grandma just got Netflix on her TV, so
Okay.
we're working on it.
Dang it, Grandma.
Grandma Nolan, please. For those of you guys who don't know, so Stranger Things has season 1, season 2, and then after season 2 came out, they also put out a thing called Beyond Stranger Things, which is basically an after show where you have a host and then you have the creators and I think one of the other executive directors that's usually in the episodes. He directs a lot of the episodes. They're all talking along with the guests and they kind of just talk about little things like what actors did in one scene or what versus the other and little like symbolism things in the back. Like if you guys remember, I think the game that they were all rambling about was Dig Dug in the show.
Yeah, it was kind of
The
like
arcade
a
game, right?
foreshadowing thing.
Yeah, so that
yeah.
that was a foreshadowing for what happens later on in the season, which I didn't realize. And a lot of like the kids were even like, "Oh my gosh, you guys did that. I didn't even realize it." I was like,
That's so
I was
funny.
sitting there, I was like, I feel so stupid. I should have known that from the start, but I didn't realize.
Everything is important. in the
Everything
show.
is important,
everything.
dude. Oh my god, it was amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, like mind blown. But I loved watching it because it kind of like delved into like the backstory and everything. But what were you saying?
Yeah, but that's what's so great about having the Beyond the Stranger Things available because I thought it was going to be just like a, play-by-play of each episode, but it was actually just kind of everybody talking about, their experience on the show or like how they gave little things that the audience didn't know.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
really
Dig
liked
Dug
it.
thing.
The Dig Dug thing was my favorite thing learning about, and also the scene with the investigator dude with Jonathan and Nancy.
Yeah,
and
that was
so
funny.
basically in that scene where he they're like talking about, and he's like, "Well, how was the pool out?" He's like, "What?" And he's
Oh
like,
my God.
the couch. How was the couch?" And he's like, "It's
Wink,
fine."
wink,
wink,
hint, hint.
And then as he's like doing that scene, if you remember, he like tried to eat an egg and completely dropped it, and he's like, "Oops!" And did that. Apparently, that was all like unscripted. It happened on its
Love
own,
it.
and then they showed the actual scene. So it took him a couple seconds, and they finally called cut. They all just started dying on the set. It was perfect. It was really good, which kind of shows that like their chemistry on screen and off screen is really, really good. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. I will say my only gripe is that there's one episode I didn't.
Which one is
I
that?
think there's one episode we all did not like.
Well, is it a we all didn't like? I'm curious because I'm getting faces.
Well, I
of,
feel like most people that I've talked to about this all kind of, there's like a consensus that there's one episode. Not that it was a bad episode, it was just very poorly placed in the second season.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. I'm not sure which one you guys are talking about.
I think it's like the 7th episode where I want to say it's 7, but it's the episode where 8 and 11 essentially interact. There's the sister episode.
The sisters.
The Runaway.
The runaway
Mhm.
episode. Yeah.
That was the least favorite?
I didn't like it.
I didn't.
I'm not gonna lie.
Didn't
Like
either.
it was fine, but
I think it's because they had to do so much character development this season that she's obviously going to come back in some other season.
I was kind of disappointed that she didn't come back in that season. Like, use her to close the door or use her to distract the demodogs. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, I felt like there could have been
I thought
others.
she was going to play a bigger role in the season because she started the second season. She was the very first scene.
That's
so I
true.
figured that she was going to come back and there was going to be this big thing.
Yeah, it was a bit
But then
underwhelming.
she only had one episode and then that was it. It was done.
Well, I think this was supposed to be just like an introduction. Like there are other children out there that have the numbers, and it was part
Which is
of
true.
Yeah.
But that's the
path.
only one that like 11 actually remembers, though.
Yeah.
And actually had a direct contact with.
Yeah.
Because like
did-
the only way she figured it out was through
I
Mom.
have read something before where the director said that this was sort of like an experimental pilot episode, and he was going to try to see, especially since it had a very different feel from Hawkins. Like it was very, I don't know, it was just very, very different. But he said that it was supposed to be an experimental pilot episode to maybe start a new show with
Really?
8. Yeah, like a spin-off show with 8 and that crew. I heard it through the grapevine. I don't know if that's true, but
That's a good theory, though.
yeah.
I trust.
I
the
feel like
Duffer
that would be
Brothers.
really interesting.
It'd be interesting, but they'd have to come off strong because
Yeah.
Stranger Things started off so well that if they were to spin it off already, like that spin-off would have to be just as good.
Yeah, there's a lot
agreed.
of expectation.
And the
there.
fact that this episode didn't really like there's conflict with people who enjoyed it or like thought it was fine towards other people who just don't like it. I mean, like I thought it was fine, but like I felt like it was definitely the weakest one. Like
Agreed.
thinking back to Stranger Things, like the original first season, I can't think of an episode that was weak in comparison to the others. You know what I mean? Like it all flowed smoothly. Whereas like this one was just kind of like
Out of place.
out of place. Like I feel like if they had merged the mother story, like the mom episode that kind of circulated around her, and kind of also the sister episode together, it would have been stronger.
Well, I think this episode was actually kind of crucial to the plot because definitely in this season we explore 11's like past more. Like we get shown what happens to the mother and like that they get reunited and everything. But with the relation with 8, you see that she calls her Jane a lot. So you know she has that kind of like I'm part of something other than just the Hawkins lab. You know, so like you get more in touch with her past and get to explore that more.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I also feel like because if that episode or that weird, funky, I don't know, atmosphere of that episode didn't happen, then you wouldn't have 11 walking in the door in the reunion looking like super cool and transformed, you know?
Super cute.
That made
I did like that moment.
that made that very epic. you
Yeah.
know?
That
And
reminds
she
me.
needed to be all cool
Yeah,
looking.
absolutely. That reminds me because again, you haven't seen it, but they kind of explain it in Beyond Stranger Things. So the scene where Mike and 11 kiss, if you look really closely at Finn Wolfhard, he mouths it, but like barely moves his lip and says, "I'm coming in," and then he like comes in to kiss as like as to kind of like symbolize or like at least be like, "Hey, it's about to happen," kind of thing. They talked about it on the
my
Beyond
gosh.
Stranger Things.
That's hilarious.
So funny, but it for somebody who, I mean, like, I only took one acting class in my entire, like, span of, like, going to school. I took one, and we did do onstage kisses and stuff like that, so you kind of had to know the right beat when to do it. So it makes sense where, he has to say it, because, like, okay, well, let me sidebar really quick. When I took this acting class, we were doing a scene from, Always Maine, I think is what it was called, where basically you're in Maine and it's supposed to be like January 1st or whatever. It's supposed to be like a winter day and it's supposed to be something magical happens. And each story is supposed to be about a love. Like it might be a lost love, it might be like a broken love, whatever. So I play this really like very angry girlfriend who's demanding all her love back from her boyfriend they've been dating for like 9 years.
Tisha, so demanding.
But it's funny because what I'm demanding is like I want my love back, and it's literally bags of love that we're supposed to physically get back, and it's supposed to be all the time this character gives back to this person. So I mean at the end of it obviously we make up and everything, and there's supposed to be I don't know if there is a kiss scene. I'm like, I don't know if we decided it was or not, but there was a kiss scene at the very end. And we had always practiced, like when my partner and I had practiced it the first time around, it was not like, it was very like, it was fake because I think he like got the side of my lips. So we just made it look like we were actually like kissing, and everyone was like, whoa. But then, like, come the actual scene, we'd always practice it where it was like a fake kiss. But then he ended up just like kissing me for real. And I like, just kind of as like a, I mean, we're you know, it wasn't like that, but it was funny because like just kind of like as a like a let's just do it just to be real, because they didn't want it to, they needed to make it look real,
passionate.
Like they didn't want to make it look like, oh, it really is just a stage kiss, like it'll be awkward kind of thing. And it's funny, like after we broke and we hugged and then when we cut the scene, I started laughing and he's like, dude, because I was sick, and so he was like, and this is the last, like I think it was like the last week going into summer. He's like, I swear to God, if you get me sick, I'm not gonna enjoy my summer. I'm like, hey, you know, you're the one who kissed me.
You went in for the real thing.
Exactly. So that's my story. But I guess my next question is, what did you guys think? Since 8 is a new character, I'm gonna get the phone since somebody's calling. But while I'm doing that, talk about maybe your thoughts on the new characters, which includes like, what's her name?
Maggie
and all of them. So yeah.
I don't even remember their names. I was so not into that episode that I liked.
I think just in general the new like field of characters. Me and Alex were actually talking about this in the car.
Cheaters.
But the feel of the brother and sister that got introduced, the Power Ranger guy and the redhead. Like what did you think of them?
I mean, they were okay, I guess. Like I didn't like have any special feelings towards them.
Well, I feel like there was a lot of expectation that, you know, they're the new people in town, and they were very vague with their relationship. So we're like, oh, is this another, you know, girl from the lab or something? But then they ended up just being, you know, regular new kids from California. You know?
With past issues.
Yeah. I was really confused by, what's the brother's name? Billy. I was really confused by Billy because he started out like I felt like they were trying to build him up as this really important character. Like he kept like picking on Steve, and like he had all of these like major roles in the show, and then they like didn't really do anything with his character. They kind of just had him as like the school bully, and then that was it. Yeah. Like I felt like
really quick. We have a call.
Okay.
This is hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Cool. So this is, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, this is John from the Slack, the notorious Slack that keeps being brought up across several shows on KCR.
Yep. So since you guys are all giving me really confused questions or confused looks, the Slack is basically this online forum that I'm a part of for a podcast called the We Stayed Late podcast. Shout out to We Stayed Late. Shout out to the Slack. Basically, I always give them questions and stuff like that so they can give me questions, and they're basically the ones listening. So John decided to call in. John, what was your question for us tonight?
Okay, so, I mean, I've been a huge fan of Stranger Things Season 1, and then even more so with Season 2. And Season 2 threw in a new element that I'm always curious about hearing more opinions on, and that's the introduction of Mad Max. Because I have my own opinions on Mad Max. I love her, and I love what the show has done with her. I feel like they could have done more, but I'd love to hear, I guess, more opinions on if other people thought that she was well-developed or if she did what the screenwriters were intending for her to do with the story. So I guess just interested on more opinions on what that character does for this show.
Okay. I feel like you guys were talking about it while I was answering the phone, right? Did we all like her? Did we all consensus on whether or not you liked her or not?
I think in the beginning, I actually liked her because she was, you know, super cool. She played video games, skateboard, and everything. But as the season went on, to be honest, I wasn't really a fan. I think it's just because I'm so loyal to 11, but I was just like, oh, this other girl in here. But I mean, it is interesting that they added, you know, her into the party, you know, so that she can kind of be the one to be reintroduced to everything because she wasn't part of the first season. So she was kind of like, I feel like her role was to just kind of be the one who was introduced to everything, just sort of like maybe like the audience can remember what happens or anything.
Yeah.
Or people who are new to the show, like, you know, she kind of represents that too.
That's true. I mean,
For me, I'm still not a big fan. I feel like there's going to be a big reveal. Like we were talking, like we thought Billy was going to have this big important part. And I guess like the peak of her character development was when she gets like quote unquote defeats her brother, you know, and is like,
oh yeah, stands up
like
to
yeah,
him.
like stands up to him. But I don't know. For me, it's kind of like you're gonna introduce another potentially strong girl into this already 11 defined.
But I think
group
that's
of
why
kids,
they
you
did it.
know?
That was for the
Yeah.
conflict. Did you say that you liked her, Ashley? Then I'll give my
I do.
opinion.
I like her. The only thing is I was a little disappointed with her character because I felt like she was only introduced as like as a love interest character. Like she came into the show and immediately Dustin and Lucas were like, fighting over her.
Yeah.
And then at the very end it's like, oh yay, like she gets the guy or he gets the girl. And I felt like that was like one of the only things her character was there
Right.
for.
Yeah.
And I was really disappointed in that because like Rachel was saying, she is a strong female character and I would love to see her developed more, but like I feel like season 2 kind of dropped the ball with that. With
Yeah.
her at least.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the same boat. Like her character was fine. I think the fact that she was kind of really there's only certain elements of her character that were really utilized, like love interest, or really just kind of like there as like a contrast to having 11. You know, so it's kind of like she's alright. I think it could be.
There's a love-hate relationship with
There's a
her,
love-hate
for sure.
relationship for sure.
Consensus.
But,
She's aight.
Yeah, she is. Consensus. She is alright. Thank you for your call, John. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Uncle John.
Of course. I was very happy with your opinions. I mean, I still have my own opinions, but I mean, I feel like women could speak better on the opinion of how women are represented in shows, especially younger women. And I feel like as a guy, I can't really speak on that. Although I was happy with what they did with the story, but I guess they could have done better. But I'm still a big fan of Stranger Things regardless.
Same
here.
Oh yeah.
Good show overall. But thank you so much, dude. Hopefully you can call in another time and all that good stuff. Thank you for calling in.
Yeah, no problem.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So yay! Thank you for... I'm going to turn off all of my stuff. So thank you guys for calling in. Again, if you guys want to call in the studio phone, 619-594-6982. I'm coming up on... I'll read the ads in a minute. But, okay, we were talking about the brother, too. How do we like the brother? And it's funny because you were saying something about how you were kind of expecting more from him.
I was.
Again, in Beyond Stranger Things, they're saying that... You need to watch the show.
I'm working on it, man. Working on it.
They're saying that the main purpose of his character in that is really just to kind of be the human foil to Steve Harrington and really just kind of being the human version of, like, your antagonist. Because I guess it's kind of to combat all of the craziness that is happening with the Mind Slayer and it's happening with, like, the Demogorgons, the
So
Demagods.
he's just supposed to be like the regular teenage high school.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's really the
Okay.
only main thing,
Okay.
to kind of, like, bring it back away. Like, just so it doesn't like, tear away too far from, like, the fact that this is still technically supposed to be just a town with kids in it. So,
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
not every character has to tie in with the upside down.
Yeah.
It can be
Yeah.
just a school bully, you know?
That's
yeah,
fair.
exactly. So I'm trying to see another character that I want to talk about before we start getting into the half-hour mark. Bob.
Oh, no.
R.I.P. Bob.
Oh, Bob.
Bob the superhero.
You know, when they put Samwise
I know.
Gamgee in a show,
Oh my gosh.
he's
It's
about
gonna
to
be
do
good.
something brave.
Something's
and then
gonna happen.
tear
Oh,
your
you're
heart out
right.
afterwards.
It's funny because a lot of the comments that I remember hearing was that a lot of people actually thought that he was evil in the beginning. Because
Oh, during the car ride scene.
during the car ride
Yep.
scene, that was just super, super ominous. And
Oh, and he was talking about the clown.
yeah.
Basically the it clown.
Well, no, it's funny too because apparently my brother was telling me that. Where was he? Oh, hello. Things are happening.
Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. I don't
the
actually
name
know
of
what
the
that was.
show.
So
That was
we'll
weird.
Figure out what that was. Some noises. I think my brother was telling me. Shout out to Brandon. Oh, shout out to my family. I know mom's listening. Hi, mom. Hi, mom.
Hi, Auntie.
He was telling me that apparently that bit in the car ride, it actually is 100% a homage to it. Like, it's not
I
just
read
like
something about that too. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Well, they do a bunch of like 80s like
Shout outs.
shout outs there.
But
yeah.
then, like, was it? Well, I guess it did come out
I
around
guess
that
like
time. Huh?
I mean like
I think
old
so. The original.
oldies because they do the Jurassic Park shout out. Do you know about that one?
when?
They have the same cars and the
that's right.
police outfits as Jurassic Park.
And then, or no, not Jurassic Park.
Or
they were
whatever
saying
it's called.
that no, I know what you mean.
Oh.
No, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking that in the line where they're in the house and like the kids are all like waiting for 11 and like Hopper to come back after closing the gate, and they're like, oh, what do we do? What do we do? Then he's like saying like, oh, what happens if we fail? And then Lucas is like Judgment Day. I think that's a callback to Independence Day. They said so in
No, they were saying it was Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Because
There
it
you
goes
go.
back to the
There you
character.
go.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
Oh my god.
As if their costumes weren't shouted out enough.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
It wasn't shouted out enough.
love it.
But I think the
Thank you.
Duffer Brothers said they just loved, Ghostbusters
Yeah.
so much, so they had to.
I mean, I
don't
was,
blame them.
If I was like a showrunner for some type of like show, I feel like I would definitely just start throwing a bunch of like references
They
to
also
like.
did
many
the
things.
little Goonies shout out.
Oh,
if
that
you
was
caught
my
that,
favorite.
Where
When?
Bob is like,
The
what are we
pirate
looking
treasure.
for? Pirate
Oh, yeah,
treasure?
that's right.
Yeah.
Dun-dun.
Yeah.
That one was my favorite because I love the Goonies.
Love
I
the
so I was
Goonies.
like-
I mean, like I know that it wasn't in the right time zone, but I wanted a Lord of the Rings shout out somehow. I know it's not the right time zone, but like for us watching it, it would have been really funny.
It
I don't know
hasn't
how.
happened yet.
I know it doesn't happen. It would have been super funny if it
Because
did.
obviously all the rest of the stuff has happened.
Yeah,
Duh.
that's fair. I'll give it that. Okay, so we talked about that.
Well, going
Cast
back to
members.
Bob and his demise, can we talk about
Yeah, we
the
need to-
Quentin Tarantino scene?
No.
where how he
Oh,
died?
No, I don't want to
so
talk about
crazy.
that.
Like, how gruesome
Let's
was that? That was
relive
like
this
the most.
really quick.
I'm going to
like,
give
brutal.
more backstory because again, you haven't watched Beyond Stranger Things, but in that episode
Just
about
gonna
it,
remind you
I'm going to
every
remind you
5
every
seconds.
time I
You
get,
know,
so you
I
can
probably
watch it
deserve
afterwards.
it. I probably deserve it.
You should have been prepared. Just kidding.
All the viewers out there too should be watching Beyond the Stranger
Yeah.
Things.
Yeah, if you guys haven't, if you
There's
guys haven't
so
seen
much
Beyond
content
Stranger
in
Things,
there.
you should. But in that, when they start breaking down that episode and that part of the scene where he dies, spoilers, he dies.
Spoiler
You
alert,
didn't know
guys.
He gets ripped apart
Oh no.
brutally. But in that scene where he's actually like that dog that like comes out of nowhere and like attacks him, in that scene where he's like tearing at him, that's actually a woman. They use the basis of an actual
what
woman.
was a woman? The Demodog?
Yeah, the Demodog.
Oh.
So they use the basis of an actual woman to use like so for
You go,
CGI you can do like full on CGI, or you can do like the dots and you can have like an actual person.
Mhm.
And so
the, like,
In like the
green
green
costume
morph
thing?
suit or
Yeah.
whatever.
she wasn't in a green morph suit, but I think they just used like I don't know how they
They
did
just
it.
needed her to like tackle him so that they can get the shot of the dog
Right.
and then
attacking.
kind of like the motion of it, and then they created the Demodog around her.
I
cool.
actually love
Pizza.
that it was one of the writers that came to visit.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
you're and they're like, you're actually the size of what a Demodog would look like. Can you do this part? Can
I
you
really
imagine
hope her
just,
name
like,
was
you know,
Demodog
going to-
after that scene.
Yeah, right?
Or Demi
Her,
or something.
Her rapper name.
Oh,
But yeah, can you imagine just
Demodog.
going to work, just visiting the set, and just being like, oh,
And
you're
she
part
was
of the
like,
show now.
you're gonna be a
covered
Demodog.
in blood at the
Yeah.
end of it.
That's
Oh,
so
no.
funny.
In the behind the scenes, she looked really into it too.
Yeah.
She was like high
It was
fiving
insane.
Bob and everything. It looked
That's
fun. I'd
funny.
do it too.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Oh, I think a friend of ours is listening. Shout out to Paula Ruano.
Hey,
Paula.
Paula. Hey,
Paula.
girl.
Paula is listening. Oh yeah, she called me out because it says Trisha Maymora on. Tune in, please fix my name. There's no
Trisha.
R.
It is Tisha.
There's no
Tisha.
R. Please. But well, they are hopefully fixing my name, as if they're going to be fixing it right now. Let me go ahead. I'm going to do some ad reads really quick, so if y'all excuse me real quick. The last time I did this, I stumbled over my words.
You got this.
What a callback. I have so many callbacks from high school today. I'll tell you after I do this. But those of you who live on campus, go ahead and explore and discover new opportunities after college with frequent Aztec career fairs. Multiple businesses are looking for motivated individuals who want a job that fits their interest. Look sharp, bring a resume, and get in contact with these successful companies. For more information, please visit Aztec Center Career Services, located at Student Services East 1200. And if you didn't know, the Viejas Arena is hosting concerts and basketball games throughout the semester. Find your tickets at the box office outside the arena from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. You don't want to miss out on these amazing events. Also, I think the basketball team has been doing fantastic. So if y'all get free tickets, or even if you want to buy tickets, do it. They're doing great. They're doing fantastico. So that's it. Oh, I was going to say that, like, there's so many callbacks to high school today because before this, we were in the production studio on campus, and our general manager, Josh, shout out to Josh. If you're listening, you said you'd be tuning in. I'd read the ads. Call in 619-594-692. As we were leaving, he's like, oh, by the way, do you know that this one's a blueberry? And I was like, oh. And Ashley's like, yeah, I was a part of the group
yeah.
that started it.
That was me right
like,
there.
Yep, it was. She
OG.
right from the beginning. Yep. But lots of callbacks to the good old times. Good old
You
times
love
like
it.
the 80s, like in the show. Oh, callbacks. So there are questions that we have that we can answer. I want to bring it to the Slack. Again, shout out to the Slack for giving me questions always. There are some questions here that we can tune in. And I know some of the other directors also texted me some questions, so I'll bring that up in a second.
Let's
so
do it.
We're going to start with... We'll do this because it requires a little bit more thinking. From Sandra says, who is your favorite adult, teen, and kid on the show? For me, adult has to be Hopper, teen has to be Steve, kid has to be Mike. Because Mike's my child.
I'd have to say same. Me
Really?
too.
Wow.
I love
Whoa.
all of them.
Yes, girl. Wow.
I mean, I
Yes,
love Winona
girl.
Ryder. I will always love her. But yeah, Hopper is such a great character.
Hopper's the man.
There's
Yes.
so much you can do with his character. So
Yeah.
Ate?
I would say definitely Hopper, especially this second season. I grew on him. That
Daddy
last part.
Hop.
Yes.
I love
Papa Hopper.
Daddy Hopper.
Loved
And
it.
then teen, I actually would say Nancy.
Really?
She,
oh, Nancy's a good one. Yeah.
I feel like she decided to be like stronger and more independent, especially like with that little needy Steve section of the season. And then child, I would say Dustin because why not? Look at him, he's so adorable.
Ooh, now it makes me kind of want to change to Nancy because yeah, looking back, she's such a strong
Wow,
character.
Rachel, you're so persuasive.
She definitely like rises to the occasion.
She does.
On so many times, but I mean Steve too. It's just,
Steve
it's
was
Sophie's
definitely my
choice, really.
favorite.
I can't. Yeah, mine would have to be Papa Hop, Mama Steve, and probably Dustin. It has to be Dustin.
Mama Steve.
I like Dustin in
Mama
the first
Steve.
season, but the second season I was so disappointed in him.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
just
he
because he made
had-
bad decisions?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I will always
Oh
love
my
him, but yeah,
gosh,
I was
true.
just frustrated. Like, come on, dude, you're
But they were
betraying the party.
adorable bad decisions.
Yeah.
True.
Can we talk about his growl too?
Do it again.
Yeah.
You guys don't like that, I'm sorry. But who can resist these pearls? And I'm done.
Oh, that was
Well, it's funny because there is another question pertaining to fatherly talk from Atch. I wanted to
Interesting.
try and make it was not as weird as possible, and in that process made it weird. Shut up. At Chelsea W. Who's the better dad, Hopper or Steve?
Oh man. Oh no.
Well, I mean, Steve
I'm gonna
is
say
the
Steve.
mother, so
oh,
Mama's
so
Steve.
no
very
argument there.
so.
Yeah.
I think actual father figure though, Hopper really pulled through.
Yeah.
I was talking about this earlier, but how he and 11 went through that rough patch where he was actually like a little on the more controlling side because he wanted to protect her. And then she called him out and she was like, "You're just like Papa."
Liar.
And it's like
Papa.
yeah. And it's like, whoa. And he's like, "Dude, no, I'm not that guy. I like want to love you and protect you." And then just the ending where they're like holding hands and just, and she just closes the gate.
I
Sorry,
love the
big
relationship
spoiler.
The
so
scene
much.
in the truck when they're driving to close the gate, that
yes.
scene got me.
That is
was a
everything.
good like
Dude.
That is
dad and
everything.
daughter
Well,
scene
even
right
like
there.
when they like reunited and that hug, I
Oh,
wanted
the
to start
hug.
crying. I was like, "You're so cute."
Yeah.
Well, I feel like going off of what Rachel was saying, I was telling her this earlier that it's interesting that that they're paired together because
I'm
you know
here for
he's
it. I like it a lot.
yeah, no, I love it too, but it was just interesting because you know, they're
reminds
so different in terms of how Hopper, he's like a very impatient person, whereas 11, she needs patience because in the first season, you know, Mike was very like caring towards her and very patient with her. But so that's why it's like interesting to see that when Hopper and 11 are together, like obviously they clash and they had that huge fight.
I like it. They're
But-
saying
Yeah.
again and beyond Stranger Things. They're saying
At
Thank
Ashley.
you.
At Ashley, you're welcome. They're saying that those scenes were a lot of fun to see play out and watch David Hopper and Millie Bobby Brown like interact with each other. But it's so interesting because both characters have such strong personalities that they would like clash, and there's all this like power in the room. So they would get to the point where they had to be like, hey, slow down, stop kind of thing, because they were just really going at it, which is like interesting to me because you can definitely see that on the screen as it is. So imagine like having to tell them to like cut it back.
Yeah.
Seems really interesting
Dial
to
it
me.
back a little bit.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. There was this post that I saw. I'm gonna text it to you guys because like when I saw it, I wanted to cry, and I'll probably, if somebody reminds me, I'll tweet it later. But I think it's really interesting to see that Hopper finally gets a chance to actually go through the stages of having a daughter, because really he was kind of gypped short. I think that his kid originally was. I think she only lived to be maybe like late toddler, maybe.
No, I
She
thought
was
she
older.
was
She was
a little
older?
older.
Or maybe
They
she was like the
showed
kid's
the-
age. No, not the kid's age. She was probably like not like.
I wouldn't say in her teens. I thought she was more around like 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe
Because
a
in
little bit younger than the boys
first
in the show.
season, when he's giving CPR to Will, there's like the cutscene to his daughter's last moments, and she's older.
She looks
Okay.
older.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just thinking when she's a kid, but I texted to you guys. I don't know if you guys got it, but there's basically, for those of you who are listening, and eventually I'll tweet it out. But I found it online where it's basically you see the progression of her. I guess it was like a hair tie from Hop's kid.
Oh, I've seen
it's a
this
progression.
This
You saw the same thing too.
theory that this might be
Rachel's
a little,
face. Rachel's face.
This might be a little
She's gonna
different.
start crying.
Lie
My
down, try not to cry.
my
Cries a lot.
uncle brought up this theory that Elle is supposedly like Hop's daughter. And I was
think
like,
it's stretching it.
And I think he got confused with like the hair tie, like
Yeah.
being basically transitioning from being on his daughter to like
The
going
reaction.
to Elle. But like, I was like, that's a stretch.
Yeah.
I don't know about that kid.
Yeah, but the picture that I texted you guys so you guys can see, it's basically, it starts off with like the Hop's original girl, like daughter, like you see the hair tie that he wears on his wrist, and it's like slowly progressed, and then you see at the end of it, it's 11 and Mike, and 11 is wearing the bracelet.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone's like, so that's kind of like a symbolism where it's like he's essentially really honestly taking her under his wing.
Yeah.
And actually,
Yeah. Someone just hand me the tissue.
I'm sorry.
It's just the
There's a
sweetest
box
thing.
around here somewhere. But
Oh, and on her birth certificate, or her like new birth certificate,
Jane
it's
Hopper.
Jane Hopper.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I really
she
wanted it to be Elle Hopper. I'm sorry, she will never ever be Jane to me.
No,
she will always
agreed.
be Elle.
Agreed.
Yeah.
She's always
Yeah.
Elle.
It's always Elle for me
should
too.
have
Yeah,
Put it,
how
like,
weird is that
middle
going to
name.
be? Like the
Ooh,
kids
Jane
start
L.
calling
Hopper?
her Jane. You know?
It's funny
I like
because I was reading a post where it's like, I hope somebody was like saying like, I hope when it comes to it where 11 is introduced to the class, like the teacher's like, oh, here's Jane Hopper, and he's like, L 11, and they're like, and all the kids in the back are like, yeah, like the ones who know what's going on, and they're like, okay, 11, welcome 11 to the class, kind of thing. Like maybe
That'd
like
be
she
cool.
won't really be able to accept Jane. I think
Well,
it'll
that's
be
an interesting thought. Like, do you guys think that she's going to go to school with them? Because they're going to high school in the next season, right?
Oh,
Like, do you think she's going to go to school
are they
with
going
them?
to high
Can
school?
she?
I think
Yeah.
they're-
Wasn't the snowball dance?
Is
Is that supposed to be like the end of the semester kind of dance? Or-
Maybe, but
They're
I
in eighth
figured-
But I
grade?
think they're in middle school.
Yeah.
I think that's their demographic for a while.
Oh,
But it will be awkward when they hit puberty, because then they'll all be in their
all
weird
of those,
stages.
if you look at them right now, all of the kids are going through puberty,
Yeah.
and so like
Yeah,
the
they're
fact that like
so-
season, which brings me back to you texted me about it too. Season 3, they
Yes.
are
Dun, dun,
greenlit for season 3
dun.
as of today, so they are going
Woo.
to most likely have it up later on next year. So that means that they'd have to start filming like pronto, like now, because those kids are growing up fast.
Yeah.
like not-
They probably like already started double shooting and whatever.
which is true.
Yeah.
But I think since we're talking about season 3, is there any predictions? I know that we got questions from a bank
Well,
Pinoy.
obviously, there may or may not be a big shadow monster.
You know?
Isn't that
It's very
crazy?
possible.
I like it though. I like that it's a very ominous that it's still like obviously it leads into the next one where like the
Yeah.
issue
Every
is still
step
there.
you take,
I have
I'll
a
be
theory.
watching you.
Yes, that was perfect.
I have a theory that
Such foreshadowing.
I was telling Rachel this, that obviously in the cliffhanger it was the shadow thing looming over the school.
The Mind Slayer.
So what if they have like the other patients? You know, because obviously they only showed 8 and 11.
Mhm.
So like, what about like 1 through 7 and 9?
What do you
10?
mean?
Like the other.
So they're gonna
like
show
the
up
other
in the
kids.
third
Like,
season?
is there other numbers? Like, are they gonna all form
Oh,
some kind
yeah.
of
Oh.
psychic army thing and take down?
That'd
shadow?
be pretty cool.
I would,
I mean-
I would like to see what their powers are, 1 through 7.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
8's was very different from 11.
Yeah. Basically,
So-
manipulation of like sight, I guess. It makes you see things that don't appear there. So
I
I would
also
say
feel
that's more
like
psychic
psychic,
Like,
yeah,
psychic ability.
of mind.
Yeah.
I feel like because 8 and 11 were like kind of farther back, I feel like the 1 through 7 were like trial rounds.
Well, that's
in
what
a
I'm
way.
thinking. I think that there's some kids that didn't make it. Which is
True.
why they reached
And
up
would
to
they
11.
even still be kids 1 through 7?
No, because
wouldn't they
it
be
was very
adults now?
old. Yeah, they would be adults, or they would definitely be adults.
Yeah.
Unless they started super young, like with
And
11.
I was confused on like when they start counting patients, because technically 11's mom was a patient, but it wasn't explained if she had a number or not.
Maybe they like as adults they don't count them, but then maybe when they started trying with kids, maybe that's when they started counting to see.
Got it.
Because if you think about it, like the kids they nabbed too, like they had 11 at birth, whereas like 8 was, I think when she was kidnapped, she was like, I think maybe like probably like I want to say like 10 or so. Like if you see the missing thing, she looks a lot older. She's not like a baby.
Right.
Right.
So maybe like that's them trying to experiment with like how old the kids have to be in order for it to be like successful or not. So
Max.
that's a
capacity.
theory. Max, yeah, for like really though, like if you think about it. So that's there's that. I'm excited because it'll be interesting if they get into it, considering that Hawkins is now shut down as of the end of season 2.
Oh yeah, they
Like
they
it's
cleaned
officially
out the
shut
lab.
down. They cleaned it out and everything. But obviously we know that the gate is there and the Mind Slayer still exists, so they're gonna have to go back into Zifray. I think it'll be fantastic. Not a question, but from @Grand Duchess Anastasia. From Anastasia, sorry Anastasia. Not really a question, but isn't that soundtrack great? I was playing it a little bit earlier, but the music is
Yeah.
Oh, then
phenomenal.
all about the soundtrack.
Love it.
I don't know if
love
this is true, but I heard that it was the composer's first project or something.
Really? I
Did you
didn't
guys see
recognize the composer
didn't
actually.
know.
Yeah, like
He
yeah,
did
it
a
was-
darn good job then.
Yeah.
Let me pull.
definitely.
I'm
For
gonna,
his first
I'm gonna look
one.
at it right now.
Did you guys see like on Spotify if you play the track, it turns into like a weird Stranger Things background thing?
Whoa,
What?
no.
Wait.
Yeah, like I think it's only on like computers.
Oh, okay. I was
But-
Well,
looking at it on my
yeah,
phone.
go on your
It's not
phone.
on there.
No,
It's
no.
not
Well,
working.
I did see. I think it's on Netflix. My best friend was binge watching season 2 with me, and
Naturally.
what?
Naturally.
Of course. So she had it on her laptop, and then she like, what is it? Chrome, whatever. She
For
like
Google.
Google,
Yeah.
whatever. She put it on the TV, and
Oh,
on,
yeah.
on her
Chromecast.
Chromecast.
There
Thank
you
you.
go.
So the TV was playing the show fine, and then on her laptop, it was the screen went blank, and it was like making all these like ooh, like scary
Oh,
noises.
I like
and
that
when you
so
move your
much.
mouse around on the screen, it shows up as like a flashlight, and so you move the mouse around, and then the Demogorgon will just like blah and like pop up.
What?
And
Wait,
I was
that's
like,
cool.
what is happening?
For,
I was freaking
wait,
out.
for Spotify.
No,
For
on Netflix.
Really?
It was on Netflix.
I gotta try that. That's
That's
interesting.
fun.
So
Yeah,
I guess
gotta
when you
look at
like
that.
when you separate the screens,
Yeah.
it totally does that weird Stranger Things thing.
Like a little like Easter egg.
Yeah,
That's cool.
A
I
really
appreciate it.
terrifying Easter egg, but yes.
Not here for the jump scares. Also,
No.
that composer that this is the first time they're composing anything because I don't see anything on their Spotify.
Wow.
Well, kudos to that person.
Yeah, heck of kudos for them.
Nice job, man.
Another question from the Slack from @abangpanoy. Shout out to Josh. Which character is the most relatable to you? I'm gonna say Mike.
Why
Right,
do you
'cause
say
that's your
that,
child.
Tisha?
I want to say watching him through season 1, seeing how protective he was of people that he cared about, and also like really lovesick. I was like, yeah, that's me. But also like every time he would scream at something, like even in like season 2, he's like, we have to go right now. And then like when his mom was calling him, it's like my favorite scene where he's like telling 11 like stay in the basement, don't go anywhere else. And then she's like, Mike, and then he's like, coming, like screams in the back. I was like, this is my son. That's me. He's definitely my favorite, actually. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
that's the kid I relate to the most. So
Oh wait, is it just child or?
it can be,
think
it can
it's
be
character.
anybody,
Any
character.
character.
But I want to say I relate to Mike a lot, actually. They're all thinking.
This is a good question.
It is a good question, cause yeah, I don't know, like that was just like for me. I really liked watching Mike, which is interesting because like in season 2 they're calling his character emo Mike because he's so very much just not in tune with anyone else.
Yeah.
And like he's also very loyal to 11, which I really liked. And yeah.
I would say stress level wise, I am on par with Will's mom.
No.
On
Joyce.
every
Oh,
scene.
Joyce.
Yeah,
Every
for a woman
scene
named
of
Joyce, she
both
stresses
seasons.
out a lot.
Oh my goodness. Love it. Love Winona so much.
She's so funny. She basically had to be in pain the whole time.
Seriously.
Where's my son? And then next season, help my son. You know?
Oh, no.
I know. I saw a tweet earlier. Where it's like, basically, it's from I think from the cycle note, but from Maud Garrett. She tweeted out. She's like, I'm basically already stressing out for Will, and she like she had quoted the season 3 announcement. And she's like, I can already feel myself being really sorry for Will for what's about to happen to him.
Awesome.
Nice.
I'm like, I feel so bad, but that kid did so well in acting.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he got
Dude.
tortured again by like the upside down monsters, but his acting was so good.
I heard
It
that
really was.
scene where he's like laying on the floor convulsing is all him.
That's insane.
That's completely
It's
that's him
That
so
was
just
so
acting.
creepy.
Yeah.
The scream,
Ugh.
like the noise, I was like, I
Yeah.
don't like this at all. I don't. It was really scary.
I loved
Yeah.
his like facials. Like that's just his
Yeah.
true acting right there. Like
Good.
that scene when Will's mom's talking to him,
Mhm.
and you just see like whether it's the
Like, he's trying to
mind
think?
flayer or him, yeah,
Yeah.
and you just
Mm.
see that shift, and then he goes like untie me or something like that. Like just that
Oh.
little kind of like you
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
the change in his eyes that he goes back to the shadow guy. Like that was
So
just
That
such
kid
good
is gonna go
acting.
places, man.
All of them
Yeah.
are seriously.
Yeah.
But back to the question. Did you guys think of any questions as or any answers to that? You said you said Joyce.
I said Joyce Myers.
Ooh, maybe Jonathan. We didn't really talk about him much, but
That's true.
I mean, I don't know. He's very loyal to his family, very protective. I feel like I'm like that too,
Mhm.
and I love music like him. I feel like those traits are me. But I mean, I'm also like I feel like I'm bad like Nancy. So
Ashley?
Oh man, I don't know.
All of the above.
Yeah, right.
all
of
the kids
above.
simultaneously at once.
All
No.
of the above.
You can
I
say
know there's
11.
a lot of characters. I feel like you're very much like it's like a tie between like Nancy or
I will agree that I do have that like move out of my way. Like I'm a strong, independent woman who don't need no man like Nancy.
Yeah.
I definitely.
Or
there's a lot of that. What? Barb?
Barb. I have a question following up to that, by the way.
Oh.
That's my segue. But I feel like Nancy a little bit more though.
Nancy.
I was gonna
apparently
say, I feel
everyone
like-
related to Barb in the first season or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like a thing that everyone
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I'm like
A lot of
Barb."
people really, which leads into my next question, that's also from Bank Pinoy. Do you think Barb deserved to die?
I feel
Deserve
like she
to
did.
die? That's
yeah.
a strong word.
What?
What?
What do you mean deserved? You think
Well, I
Barb
mean, not
deserved?
deserved, but I feel like it was important
necessary?
to
Yeah.
carry on the plot because that was the catalyst for Nancy to kind of, rise above and be part of the conversation of what's happening in this town.
That's true. Well, it's funny though because in the beginning, after Barb was killed off, a lot of people were surprised. They were like thinking like, or the response to her death was a lot stronger than the Duffer Brothers even realized. They did not intend for #justice for Barb to be a
Yeah.
thing. So they were really surprised. So going into season 2, they're like, okay, we will give justice for Barb. So,
Ah,
which is, I guess, my next question.
interesting.
Do you think that justice has been served, so to speak, for Barb? You think that was
I think
good
so.
enough?
So, yeah, same.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah, they had a funeral. Like her parents finally had some closure.
Yeah.
I actually
Parents
really
are
liked
weird,
that.
though.
Yeah,
They served
strange.
KFC.
I actually really
It's
liked
finger
that
licking
Nancy
good.
and Steve.
That's awesome.
That was
Hashtag sponsored by KFC.
Oh
tonight.
no! We're not.
Just
We're not
kidding.
sponsored by them as much as we'd like to be. Hit me up if you want to sponsor my show or KCR in general. I am the promotions director, so that'd be fantastic. But no, that's not the case.
Can we talk about how weird it was that they had a picture of Barb in the bathroom? Like,
Oh,
that
you have
was
a good
weird.
point. Now that I think
Yeah.
about it.
For some reason, I was just so confused with that.
Yeah.
Like,
Backstory to the pictures. also from Beyond Stranger Things. They mention it.
Thank you, madam.
You're welcome. All those pictures that you see in that scene in the house and even at the funeral, that's all actually Shannon Purser's pictures. Like even the kid ones, that's all her.
That's adorable.
So, but it's funny because she's like saying it is commitment because it's weird to see
her own pictures.
Yeah, and especially at a funeral, where you're like,
well, and that's crazy. She wasn't even in the second season, but all her pictures were. So that was like, so she was.
I'm pretty sure because she did still do work. Like she still had to do the pictures for the funeral. She still had to do stuff like that. She still probably got paid for season 2 too.
Question: did you guys see the Jimmy Fallon what is it spoof
his
on
parody
the La La
thing?
Land?
Oh,
it was the introduction to the Oscars or
no.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
Okay, they had a spoiler of Stranger Things in there. I don't know if it's true, if you remember.
For season 3?
No, just in general. It was before the Oscars or whatever, and the kids come out of a truck and they're rapping, and they're like, spoiler, Barb's alive, and then Barb comes out of the trailer.
I keep seeing the GIF, and then she rises up from a pool or something like that.
And it's like, is that real or were they joking?
I feel like it was just for that joke that she's alive so that they can do the pool coming out scene.
Which I'm here for.
But that would be interesting.
That'd be funny.
I mean,
we have seen
so
Stranger
funny.
but
Things.
she's very dead. We saw her.
Ooh, what if it wasn't her?
No, she's 100%.
But what if the shadow person
just no.
As much as I'd love her to be alive, 100% dead.
Yeah,
we have some questions from shout out to Brett from Brett and Mackie from In the Morning show here at KCR. He is the video director, and his show, Brett and Mackie in the Morning, is on Tuesdays from 10 to 12. There's your plug, Brett. He has some questions. He's probably not listening right now. It's cool. He gave me some questions earlier, so we'll kind of shoot this since we are coming up on about, 8 minutes or so. I know.
No.
Goes by fast, doesn't it?
Not
The fun hour.
The fun hour. We're not going to go 2 hours, you guys. This would be last week, Black Friday, which is, I wasn't technically in the studio, but we had recorded for 2 hours. That was a 2-hour show. The week, or 2 weeks prior to that, when the last time I had the show prior to that, was also 2 hours. So we're not going to go on the street.
I see how it is, Tisha. I'm not special enough to
No,
be here for 2 hours.
No, it's
Tisha doesn't like our voices.
That's not true. 2 hours, honestly, it was good, but man, the second half, I'm
but 2 hours of Stranger Things, though.
There's a big difference.
I'd have to ask for 2 hours, which would be right now, but I'm okay. We're gonna not do 2 hours. And plus, you're an old lady. You need to go home. You need to sleep.
Me?
Yes, you.
I need to sleep?
You have a set time schedule for when you need to sleep. Did you not?
This is my weekend. This is my weekend.
Okay, we're gonna
My closing statement is actually sleeping schedule.
Exactly. No, okay. So, from Brett, are you more of a demic cat or a demic dog person?
That's the winner right there.
awesome.
He texted me this, and we were in the production studio today, and I look over at him like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "What?" I'm like, "Really? That's what you're sending to me?" He's like, "It's funny." And I'm like, "Whatever."
Well, I mean, okay, before we answer that, I thought it was strange that in the first season, they had the Demogorgon a man kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But in the second one, they were dogs. What happened to the man?
They were
one?
baby Demogorgons.
They're metamorphosis stages.
And that thing has existed for a while. If you remember the time lapse, 11 had seen the Demogorgon in the what did they call it? The when she goes
in her submersion tank.
But they actually have a name for it. I forgot.
For that place that she's in?
For that place that she goes to. The in-between? Something like that.
Oh, yeah. It was something oh, no, I don't know.
I don't remember it. But
you tried. They say it in Beyond Stranger Things.
They do
so
say
Beyond Stranger Things.
They do, and I completely forgot. Sometimes a strange... let me see. Sometimes Slack usually comes through, but I don't remember it. Another question from Brett as we're coming up on time. If you were the Mind Flayer, who would you want your spy to be and why? And I'll say it in the context of this room. Out of everyone in this room, if you're the Mind Flayer, who would you choose to kind of puppet around? Question. I'd be Ashley.
Interesting one.
I go have fun.
Well, I mean, my
internship.
first instinct wants to say Elle because she's top dog and she can basically kill everybody if I needed her to.
That's true.
Real easy.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, they also call Will, what is he, the magician or the wizard? Like,
the wizard.
is it the wizard?
I think.
Oh, and in their D&D thing.
and in,
Yeah.
in their D&D world, so he's probably got some like strong mind game going on too. So that's a tough one.
In
It's
the
between the
context
two.
of the show, I think I'd say Hopper
Really?
because he's the chief. If anybody comes to him
Oh,
and if
he
there's
has
any
power.
weird things, he would just be like, "It's nothing," and brush it off, and everybody would trust him.
And that's how he acts, too.
Exactly. So nobody would really kind of question it.
Ooh,
That's
smart.
what I'd say.
Oh,
Ooh.
man. My mind flare would not make it in this world.
I mean, you would, considering if you were 11, you'd have powers, so you'd be able to
Yeah.
you'd
True.
thrive.
And Hopper's like her dad, so she's basically in on everything.
Yeah.
She's right there.
There you go.
It's all about her.
It is. It's true.
I think for the show, it's like being smart about it. The Mind Flayer would have to pick someone who doesn't have emotional ties, because that was like Will's will to escape was because he's like,
Because of his
I'm
mom,
gonna-
his family.
yeah. and he's like giving them the Morse code.
That's why I
thing.
feel like Hopper is a good choice, because most people don't know about his life. Or
But
he
he
decided
is
to cut himself
emotional.
off.
But now he's emotionally
but
connected.
he, like with everyone else though, except for like the kids and Joyce and everything, he cut himself off from everybody. After
Yeah,
he
but we
got
see a
himself.
lot of his emotion in the second season.
Yeah,
like
that's
I
true.
feel like he's more in touch with
Now
their
he is.
relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But prior to, I'd say.
Do you guys ship what's
Ooh.
Joyce and Hopper?
Oh,
Jobby
100%.
Jopper.
I am on
I do.
that ship.
I do.
I'm-
Is it Chopper? Is
It
it
is-
I
it's
feel like they
Jopper.
foreshadowed
Jopper.
because they always kind of hinted when they talked about their past,
Yeah.
as if kind of
Oh
like
my gosh, all of their
flirting,
like
you know?
behind
And
the
they-
building cigarette
Yeah.
moments.
They
Like,
always-
remember back
love
in
it.
high
They always
school?
lovingly
All about it.
embrace. I love that.
I know.
Yeah.
I really like it. Like I was sad to see Bob go, but in terms
But at
of
the
like
same
relationship,
time, I
feel
was like,
Joyce
hashtag Jopper, yes.
Yeah.
But it's
Right?
funny because even David Hopper like super ships it, or David Hopper, David Harbor. I was close.
I think you said that twice.
Did I really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I just stared at you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Rachel. He ships it too, which I think is really funny. So,
Love it. All about it.
Love it. Love it. Did you say your character as we're coming up on time?
Oh, yeah, I'd probably say Hopper too. That's genius. You know,
Thank
he has
you.
so much power.
You're so smart.
Chief of
Tisha's the
police.
best mind flayer. You win D&D.
I win.
That's gonna be season 3. Hopper's
Dude,
gonna
I
be the
tried
one
sitting in a
who-
D&D.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Thomas and Parker and Steph and their friends. They were all playing it at one point. I was like, dude, I can't
too
keep
much.
up. It's
Intense.
so
No,
much
it's
work.
so funny. If you like
It's so-
watch the right group and they're into it, so fun.
I mean, they were setting up, but even just setting up, I was like, man, this is a whole other world that I am,
Yeah.
literally a whole other world that I am not a
I'd
part
rather
of.
just play video games.
Same.
You know?
Or go to watch movies and
That
stuff.
takes
Yeah.
dedication, though. I heard it takes days to like
It
play
does,
that
like,
game.
to set up a campaign and everything. Like,
Yeah.
the kids in the beginning where they're like, how long was your campaign? 10 hours? Like, that's something that is very much, like, 100% can't happen.
yeah.
That's insane to me. Also, from shout out to Jules Run. Hi Ben. Hi Ben. He says it's the void. The in between
Ah,
the
the
void.
void.
They gotcha. They
thank
gotcha.
you.
Yeah. Last question from Brett. Dustin's hair at the snowball. Do you love it? Yes or yes?
Yes
Heck
or
yes.
yes?
Yes or yes?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
And
Always.
the meaning
yes, queen.
behind the hair that
Oh,
represents
so cute.
Mama
relationship
Steve,
of
full of
Steve.
blue.
Yes.
I
And what
love
was
it.
What was the Farrah Fawcett hairspray?
Yes.
It's
They
great.
still
It's
make that.
fantastic.
They
I
make
love
that.
it. They probably do. I wouldn't be surprised.
They
honestly.
would if they
Bad
still
for the
made that, they would have
environment.
made so much money. Everyone would be getting fair.
Oh, heck yeah.
I bet you they will. They'll bring it back just for the sake of you know,
Obscure Stranger
obscure
Things presents.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we are coming up on the minute mark. I just wanted to say thank you, ladies, for being on air with me.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
having
us.
us.
Absolutely.
And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everybody who's been
Yes.
tuning in. I'm going to put on a little bit more music afterwards as we're coming up on time. This has been KCR College Radio, the award-winning sound of state here at San Diego State University. Again, you can tune in at kcrlive.com or AM 1610 for those of you who live on campus, and the TuneIn app, where they'll hopefully get my name right one of these days. Just download the TuneIn app and look up KCR College Radio from there. And I have been your host for this evening, Tisha Mora. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week is the last week of shows. I may or may not be in here, but there will be definitely a show. So definitely expect that from me. Remember to follow me on all the social medias as well. And I will see you guys soon. Thank you guys. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.